Hey guys, if you like the content, please be sure to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Quick reminder to check out this week's Mortar Pod, our video podcast, and also check out this week's Seems Good Magic card giveaway. Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're doing another Swiss Theros block draft. We've opened Silence the Believers, which is an excellent card, and I'm definitely going to take it. We also have Banishing Light in here, which would be a great card to have. Swarmborn Giant, which I've been meaning to try. I think this card's actually pretty good. Hoplight's good. I forget what this guy does. This guy's pretty good because he's a 2/3. Plenty of good cards in here, actually. Certainly amongst the rare and uncommons, but gotta take Silence the Believers. It's gotta be one of the best removal. This has to be the best removal spell in full block, I would think. I can't think of a card that could work better in full block than instant speed, exile it, and all the auras attached to it. And in addition to that, let's let you target more creatures too. So Silence the Believers is just straight insane. Okay, for a follow-up pick. Well, Riddle of Lightning is pretty good. You get to scry. You get to deal it to a creature or a player. This guy's kind of cool. I wanted to try him out. Cast into Darkness is fine. Grim Guardian's fine too. I think we got to take the Riddle of Lightning. Pretty strong removal spell. Scrying is always good. Not much else to say about it, really. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but I'm not going to be upset about passing any of this stuff for a Riddle of Lightning, I don't think. Okay, so now we can do Blade Tusk Boar, who's pretty awesome. Squelching Leeches, who I think is probably pretty good if you're deep enough black. Dreadbringer, who did not play well for me last draft, so I'm kind of upset with this card now. I don't know if I really like it at all. 5 mana, 2 toughness. The rest of your deck better be a lot of creatures that can block. Consign to Dust is really good. It's like built-in 2-for-1, potentially. Kind of leaning towards the Boar over the Squelching Leeches. The Leeches, I feel like, make me want to just play mono black more, whereas the Boar, the red evasion, the red intimidate is just really good. I think I'm taking the Boar. Okay, now we have Magma Spray, which is indeed good. Flurry of Horns. I think we're just taking the Magma Spray and keeping the red picks coming. Flurry of Horns is cool too, especially since we're probably in Minotaur colors. I mean, I would really like to make Silence the Believers work. I would prefer to not get cut out of black because Silence the Believers is truly that good. Okay, so now we have Grim Guardian, which admittedly not that good yet, but keep in mind this is a enchantment set. Otherwise, I mean, I could take Font of Ire. I actually think this card's okay. It's an enchantment, so it gives you devotion until you pop it, and when you pop it, 5 damage is a pretty big deal. I think Spite of Mogus is cool, but I mean, it's actually pretty legit with what we have already. We have 3 instants or sorceries. I just feel like Grim Guardian's probably just going to be better in general. It's a good blocker. Comes down, punishes. All future enchantments punish too. I just don't likely see myself playing Spite of Mogus. I feel like it's a bit too narrow. But Grim Guardian, I think, just combos well with a significant portion of this entire block. Alright, well, I mean, we could take the Nyx Infusion. I always play this card. Squelching Leeches is going to want us to be a bit deeper black than red. Gluttonous Cyclops is he's a fine finisher. Not exactly sure yet. I mean, I'm going to want a lot of swamps to make the leeches be good. Nyx Infusion is typically pretty good, but it's not as amazing as I originally thought it would be. Rouse the Mob's really good too for heroic. I think I'm going to take the Cyclops. It's not that great, but it is a legit finisher, and I'd like to have at least one legit finisher. Alright, well, we get a lot of the same choice here again. So I don't think I'm taking a second Cyclops, but we can go Infusion or Rouse the Mob here. Infusion, I guess, combos better with the Grim Guardian, and it's a removal spell. Rouse the Mob, giving Trample is good. Triggering heroic. We currently don't have any heroic, but it's not that big of a deal. Let's take the Nyx Infusion. Alright, Spite of Mogus now. 6 mana 4/4 flyers, probably not that bad. Cruel Feeding I've played a few times now. I think it's actually pretty good. Lightning Diadem seems a bit expensive for what you get, but it does work with Grim Guardian, I guess. We got 1, 2, 3. Still only have 3 for Spite of Mogus. Something about that card just doesn't seem like it works very easily. Let's take the Cruel Feeding. Okay. Still don't think we need a second Cyclops necessarily, so I think here we'll take the Rouse the Mob, and then we've got some nice diversity going on in tricks and stuff like that. Okay, I think Cast into Darkness is actually a straight up legitimate spell. I do like Font of Ire, but I'm just not convinced yet that we're going to be a beatdown deck based on this first pack. And Cast into Darkness works well with both our Constellation. It works well for Devotion later. It also just, turning off blockers or making attackers less good. Everything about this card is great. I like Blinding Flare for more aggressive decks too, though. I do want to try that out. I'm going to take the Minotaur over the second Nyx Infusion. Nyx Infusion is definitely playable, and it looks like it's, okay in our deck. But Pensive Minotaur, I think I just want it because we're in Minotaur colors. But more importantly, 2/3s are usually just good. 2/3s for 3 in limited, typically good. Alright, we'll take the Flurry of Horns here. This card's actually just fine. 2 hasty guys out of nowhere. And they happen to be in a creature type that's good for the colors we're in. Well, I mean, Flurry of Horns, I guess, works with the Spite of Mogus, but I think we're just taking the Font of Ire at this point. I think it's going to... I just don't really think I'm going to be able to make the other one work. Although, picking up that late Rouse the Mob... No, I don't even know if we're playing the Rouse the Mobs yet. We may not be that type of deck. Depends on how much early stuff we can get out of these next couple packs. Alright, well, Hero of Iroas is good, but I think Satyr Nyxsmith is probably just the pick. Kragma Butcher is cool too. But Rise of the Challenge is fine. Necrobite, Way to the Underworld, both playable for sure. Let's take the Satyr Nyxsmith. If you can stick that guy on turn 3 and he goes unchallenged, you're going to be real happy. Alright, so then the question is Bolt of Keranos versus Asphyxiate. Well, we're already deeper red, so Bolt's looking better. But even on top of that, the fact that Bolt can hit face and Scries, I think, just makes it better than Asphyxiate. Even though Asphyxiate can technically deal with bigger threats, I think Bolt's better because it's just more versatile. This pack looks a lot like the last one. I think we'll take the Kragma Butcher now. Could take the Necrobite or the Rise to the Challenge, both of which are fine, but Butcher, I think, is the right direction we want to go here. It's another Minotaur, and this one actually just plays really well. I mean, this one's strictly better than Pensive Minotaur, so interestingly enough, they're both common, too. Okay, well, I mean, Grizzly Transformation works well with the Satyr Nyxsmith, and the Kragma Butcher, for that matter. But I think we are more in Rollicker territory. If I pick up any heroic, I'll want it. And it's also an enchantment. And Bestow is good. So we'll take that. Okay. So now we can take Ashiok's Adept, which has Heroic, but it's not terribly exciting. Pinnacle of Rage, which is a pretty good removal spell, and Rise the Challenge, which is a good trick. I think the trick probably is more in line with what we want. We're a little bit short on creatures yet, but I do like Pinnacle of Rage. But I think Rise the Challenge is a great spell too. It's a really good trick. The first strike really makes that card. Wow, it's a late Bolt of Keranos, and it's foil, making it even cooler. So we'll take that. No doubt. Alright, Conscriptor. He's pretty expensive. 5 mana, 2 toughness. Typically I don't like that, but this one can steal guys. Guess we have a few ways to target it. Bestow, a couple pump effects, so it's possible we play it. And it's not like we're taking anything else out of here. So Faded Retribution is in the draft. Let's try and be conscious of that in our matches, if I can. Guess we'll take the Sun Chaser just to continue to cut red, but I would prefer to not play Sun Chaser. Currently at 22 cards, but there's already a few cards that I really wouldn't mind cutting. Alright, take another Rise to the Challenge. I mean, could take the Necrobite, but I don't know. I just think the fact that this pumps as well can potentially mean more for damage later in the game. And in addition to that, it's cheaper, which I think is relevant as well. Alright, doesn't look like anything useful out of here for us. Could take the Skirmisher. It's a creature. Phalanx is, I mean, amazing if someone's in red-white, so I think we probably just want to hate that. So I think I'm just going to hate that, but I need to think about what I'm cutting for my next pick. What's the weakest link of this deck? Probably one of the... Well, the Sun Chaser for sure has got to go. We're super short on creatures. Right now we're just kind of a removal-y deck. And, wow, third Rise to the Challenge? Jeez. I could have taken the War Chanter, but I just don't like him. We may actually need the Drifters, so I'll take him. Currently only at 9 creatures with 24 cards, which is pretty insane. I think we're cutting the Rouse the Mobs. They seem unnecessary. Alright, so I guess Flurry of Horns counts as creatures too, so it's more like 10. Grim Guardian doesn't look very good because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 enchantments, really? It's surprising. Epiphany Storm is pretty playable on your Satyr Nyxsmith. For 4 mana, you get... Or Claim of Erebus, even, is pretty good on Satyr Nyxsmith. Make him lose 2, and then when he untaps, get a 3/1 haste. It's kind of good. Not sure if we're going to do it, but kind of cool. Alright, so we really have to prioritize creatures high out of this last pack, but, I mean, I can't pass burn spells either, really. So I guess it just depends on what we're opening here. But currently our creatures are looking low creature count. Well, I mean, Anger is pretty awesome. Marauders is okay. I mean, it's good, but I'm not sure it's exactly what this deck wants. Deathbellow Raider's good too. Could just take the Anger. I know I said I need more creatures, but this is pretty good. When you're on the draw and they're like just rolling creatures out towards you, you can really change a game state with Anger the Gods. So I think I'm going to take that. But yes, I still need creatures. Okay, so we can take the First Striker 3-drop. We can take the Deathbellow Raider, which is an irrelevant creature type, and we can pay for the regen. I think we want the Oread. Not that it's better, but I just don't want to be forced to attack each turn, I think is kind of the way I feel right now. And I kind of like that I can bestow on a creature and then Anger. And basically board wipe and keep my creature around. Alright, let's get the first striker, I guess. I do like 2-drops, though. Alright, well, if I had taken Deathbellow Raider, this Warcaller would look a lot better, but we're going to take the Warcaller anyway, because we might table those guys, who knows. Butcher, Minotaur, we have Butcher, Pensive Minotaur, Flurry of Horns currently, which isn't a ton, admittedly, but enough to justify a Lord, yes. Alright, pretty good cards for us in here. Cavern Lampad, Harpy, Emissary, Mantle. We're just going to go with Emissary for sure. Do we have to make more? Oh, second Kragma Warcaller, you say. Alright. Well, it looks like the Minotaur strategy kind of worked out. Hopefully we table those Deathbellow Raiders. If not, it's not the end of the world, but... what are cuts we're making? I don't think we need the Font of Ire anymore. I don't think we probably don't need the Cruel Feeding, but Lifelink would be nice a little bit. Perhaps we don't need the Nyx Infusion, but it is removal. Maybe we don't need the Grim Guardian, but I have to count how many enchantments we ended up with total. Had I known I was for sure getting 2 Kragma Warcallers, I would have taken the Deathbellow Raiders, but I wasn't... I didn't think the Deathbellow Raiders looked that good in this deck because we had a low creature count a little bit ago. So low creature count playing guys that are forced to attack is kind of sketchy in my mind. Well, Borderland Minotaur works the best with our 2 Lords, so I guess we can do that. That's a pretty strict upgrade to the Forsaken Drifters here. Still have a pretty low creature count as well. I mean, Flamespeaker Adept's good too, but I think we got to go with the Minotaur with our double Lord. Alright, Skull Cleaver. More Minotaurs coming. That's cool. Take him. Make this Minotaur deck work. Wow. Well, we could take another Minotaur, or we could take the second Emissary. I mean, we do need all the Minotaurs we can get right now with the double Lord. But Emissary is so good. Currently have, what, 5 Minotaur cards? Not including the Warcallers. I do think we have to up our I think we got to make these Warcallers work. Skull Cleaver's not as good as Emissary, straight up, but... Alright, good. We tabled 1 Raider. Let's see if we can table that second one. If we do, this will probably be the best Minotaur deck I've ever been able to draft, for sure. I'm going to take the foil rare. Not sure if we got that second Raider back. We'll take the Lampad here. Maybe we don't need the Gluttonous Cyclops at this point. I'm not sure. Fellhide Minotaur too? Great. So alright, let's play Minotaur Tribal. I think we actually made it work. We missed out on 1 Deathbellow Raider, not even too huge of a deal. We ended up with a lot of good Minotaurs. We can just sort of focus our deck into that space. Kind of try to figure out where we're at. Yeah, we'll make this Minotaur Tribal work for sure. Okay, let's figure this deck out. Stuff we for sure want versus stuff we probably don't need. A lot of good red. Don't think we need the Guardian. Probably don't need the Infusion. Definitely we need the Warcallers. Alright, this is 28 with 16 creatures. So I think at this point I'm probably cutting... I don't want to cut creatures really. So I'm just going to cut spells I think that aren't going to work well with us. And that might be Anger main deck. Anger might just be a card I want to sideboard. So let's cut the Anger main deck. Let's cut the Cruel Feeding. I prefer, at this point I just don't want to cut creatures really. 16's a good number, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Minotaur cards, which is pretty good. That is actually really good. If this deck had a Rageblood Shaman, it would have been out of control, but I'm not upset with what we got. We got some good stuff going on. I guess we'll cut the Cast into Darkness. I do think it's a good card, but at this point, I mean, I could cut a creature at least, I guess, because we really have 17 creatures if you count the Flurry of Horns. Conscriptor, currently the only ways we have to target it are, what, 3 Rise to the Challenge and a Spear Point Oread and a Cavern Lampad. That's not a lot. I guess Rollicker too. Maybe it is more than I give it credit for. 5, 6 cards that can target Conscriptor. I think my issue is we already have quite a few 5-drops, so it seems unnecessary, but that might be wrong. I don't have to cut that. I wish we had more stuff going on early. Maybe we don't need 3 Rise to the Challenge, because we don't even really get to start playing them until turn 4, just based on the creatures we have. So why don't we cut one of these? And then I guess we could cut 1 creature, but this guy's more like a 2-drop, I guess. We could cut the Conscriptor. It's just not exactly... Well, maybe this is a better sideboard card. I can sideboard in a Conscriptor if there's like a really huge creature I want to steal. I think the issue with Conscriptor will be in some matches, if we're playing against like red-white aggro, you really don't want a Conscriptor. It's just too slow. I mean, by the time you get it online, what are you going to steal? Like they're like 2/3s or whatever. They're 2 mana 2/1s. So this is a card that I think against the slow decks could be absolutely insane, but against the quick decks it's way too slow to give you the value you're going to need to reap from it. Alright, so I think I'm going to run it like this, and it looks pretty good because our removal suit is pretty nice, and then we've got double Warcaller and just a ton of Minotaur cards. Just a ton. Yeah, this deck looks good. I like it. Definitely like it. I could see myself cutting 1 Rise to the Challenge for a Cast into Darkness instead. And you might ask why. Well, turning off a blocker, I guess more just for diversity. I like the diversity of making a blocker weaker or an attacker weaker. I don't know. I just have a thing with this card. I really do think Cast into Darkness is good. So, could not be more red than black. Probably going to end up doing 11-6, I think. Because we do need double black, I guess. Oh, this really rewards you for a lot of black. Maybe we do 10-7. I do need double red for Bolt of Keranos, but 10 sources I'm hoping is enough. I guess the only reason I'm really running 10-7 is just to make Silence the Believer strive, pay dividends late game. And maybe that's too... Maybe just I shouldn't get that greedy. Maybe I shouldn't hurt the mana base like that. We really need... we really do need to hit red all the time. Whereas we really just need 1 black most of the time. Ugh. I don't know. 10-7 or 11-6. Let's do 10-7. I think I'm going to do 10-7. Okay, so I'm going to run it like this, and I'm happy with the deck. I am happy with this deck. We have some decent sideboard stuff going on. We've got some good evasion, good creature count, good removal, good tribal theme going on, which is actually hard for me to achieve. Hard to achieve in full block, I would think. We didn't get that new guy from Journey into Nyx that gives all your Minotaurs Death Touch, but that's alright. Okay, running it like this. I'll see you round one.